So today, I figured I'm going through some music just to get kind of prepped for the weekend, for my work week. It starts tomorrow. Today's Tuesday currently, but just going through some of the newer hot songs. Specifically, there's the Sexy Red, Looking for the Hose. Um, and it made me think about um, us as DJs and how a lot of us started this journey as lovers of music. And although, like myself, I really started DJing because of like scratch DJs, battle DJs, and just my love for like backpack golden age hip hop, um, like a lot of the late '90s, early 2000s, like raucous stuff, um, Mob Deep, Wu Tang, all that like East Coast real hip hop rap stuff. And this song is so far from the music I fell in love with and the music that made me want to really start DJing. But because I do this um, as my job, and because this is how I make a living, I've had to learn to be okay with following trends in music. Early Early 2010s when the EDM boom happened, I wasn't really into like EDM like that, like big room EDM. I'm talking like Animals and all that stuff, Booyah. But I had to play it, and I had to learn how to play it that made sense to me and made sense for the crowd in a way that they would enjoy it. And um, I think it's so important if you want to be a DJ full time to understand following trends. I mean, one conversation that almost always comes up anytime I see another full time DJ that I haven't seen in a while, especially if it's like out of town or someone, they DJ somewhere else in another city, or they're visiting here, is, hey, what songs are working for you? This is a question that I'm sure if you've been DJing full time long enough and you have a bunch of DJ friends, you've definitely had this question asked to you, and you've definitely asked it to other DJs. What songs are working for you? And that's because, especially now in this day and age where music changes so fast, and we live in an era where a song can be hot for a few weeks and just stop working right after. Where in the past that wasn't necessarily the case, now it is. But at the same time, too, we are now seeing a resurgence of a lot of older songs that are starting to work again, and some even working better than when they were first released. For example, I can think of Swag Surf. Yeah, now it's kind of getting old again because it's been hot for a few years now. But when that record first dropped, especially here on the West Coast, it didn't work nearly as well as it does now or did in the past few years. And I'm thankful that I was around for when it first came out, because I mean, I've played that song tons of times, and I know I have setups and things ready for it. But even then, when it first came out, um, some of the southern stuff was working where I DJ'd, some of it didn't work. And taking the time to learn what songs were working in other markets, other places around the country, around the world, and trying to implement it into my set. Um, for one reason, to kind of be on top of what's going on everywhere, and just being prepared. And another reason, uh, just opening up myself as a DJ and figuring out a way to make it make sense in the place that I played, right? Where, say, Swag Surf didn't go off right away, I could dip into another song that's around that tempo, um, that I knew would work in that room. And if I stayed, very closed minded about the music that I played, maybe I wouldn't, I, not maybe, I probably wouldn't take the time to learn how to play that record the right way meaning the way that made sense to me. But because I wanted to, at that point early on in my DJ career, I wanted to know as much as possible because I wanted to start traveling as a DJ. I wanted to play other markets. I wanted to expand outside of LA where I was at the time and play in other cities, other countries, etc. And my thought was that I couldn't do that if I only stayed in like my little bubble of music that I enjoyed. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of DJs out there, great DJs out there that have made a living playing, the same style of music and they're experts at it. But I will say, just to be completely honest, the majority of DJs that want to be full-time DJs, that probably won't happen for you. You're gonna have to do, a random restaurant or a lounge or a small bar or just a variety of different gigs that the crowd probably doesn't want to hear that if they're not there for you. You're just the DJ for the night. And keeping on top of what's hot in music is probably the one thing that has made my career as long as it has been. Now, things fall in and out of favor really quickly, like I said, but my rule that I think that really, as I've done this over the years, there's probably at least 1 to 5 songs every year that are certified hits that the majority of people or a good amount of people in the room are gonna like, right? Every year has those few couple songs. And I really think it's your job as a DJ to be up to date and know those songs from not just today, but years past, decades past, and understand how to play it in your set to make it work in the room. You never know if you're playing at some club or some bar and there's a big spender and he wants to hear some song from 20 years ago that was hot when he was in high school or college or something like that. But if you're prepared, and you've done enough practice, you as a DJ, you should understand how to work that into your set and also, even more importantly, work your way out of it just in case that song didn't work for the rest of the room, right? Knowing not just how to play the song, but how to recover if it goes bad is a skill in itself. And having that plan is a big chunk of keeping on top of trends, right? Like, for instance, that Little Boo Thing song that was hot all over social media, right? I've seen DJs play it and it goes off, just like the first, basically, as long as the TikTok or Instagram reel is, that first hook, and then there's a steep drop off when it gets into the verse. Just because the crowd doesn't, know the rest of the song. They're like, oh, I know that because I've heard it a billion times when I look at my phone. But when it gets to the part where they don't know it, the energy just dips. And one difference that I'll say is a great DJ will know exactly where to shut the song off and go into something else that'll keep that energy. And they're like, oh, like that boost that crowd gets from hearing a song that they're really familiar with and they enjoyed. Finding the next song to play after that they'll enjoy just as much, if not more, is probably the most important thing about playing quote unquote trendy songs. Now, if you can string a couple of them together, great. If you have to space them out, great. But understanding trends in music and understanding exactly how much of a song to play is a skill that I think that DJs should, especially now where, the attention span of a younger crowd is very short, knowing how to get in and out of a track, or even, making your own edit of a track that cuts it off and, maybe you put an instrumental right after, just a clever way to get in and out and understanding what the crowd wants to hear and most importantly, how they want to hear it. If you aren't doing that already, I highly, highly recommend, that you do that. And even if you're a DJ of a specific genre, if you want to do this full time, even this isn't just in the open format world, even in the dance music world, if you specialize in one kind of genre of dance music, don't be afraid to look up and stay on top of other subgenres in the dance world, right? Like say you do like UK garage, or you do like tech house, and that's what your primary thing is. That shouldn't stop you from looking at the other genre and seeing what's hot over there, because you never know, maybe you have to pivot your career a little bit because the genre that you really enjoy is kind of falling out of favor and another one is starting to pick up steam. Being on top of that and knowing the songs of a genre that's coming up gives you such an advantage. And same thing with open format and hip hop mixing, like understanding what's on like the uptick and being early and understanding that because you've taken the time previously to research, collect the music, put it in your library in an organized way and know how to play it, makes you so much more valuable of a DJ. And all it took was your time away from the decks and a couple hours of research and really learning it, and just more than importantly, being open to other genres or other facets of music that you can incorporate in your DJing. And the biggest benefit of that too is it makes you a better DJ if you can, touch different things but still make it make sense to you and your sound as a DJ. You just became way more valuable. Keep that in mind when you get to your practice sessioning this week, and more importantly, when you get to your music searching and downloading and organizing. Try to keep that at the front of your mind, and maybe this weekend try to add something that's a little left field of what you usually play and see how it goes. All right, y'all.